Welcome back, guys, to Practical Daily Wisdom. Or if you're new, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm currently releasing videos every Mondays and Thursdays. And today's video was originally going to be something completely different. I already recorded it, ready to upload it for today. But then I received a lovely comment yesterday and thought, let's put this comment at the front of the queue. Because I would much prefer you guys ask me specific questions and I give you specific answers, as opposed to me just coming up with a random idea on my own. Because when I come up with a random idea, for me it's like shooting darts at a dartboard. When I come up with my own ideas, sometimes I throw the dart and I hit the bullseye. Many people resonate with the topic I talk about. Other times I feel like I'm throwing the dart and it's hitting the wall that the dartboard's hung on. Completely does not resonate with anyone. So, thank you so much for the question. It's a two-part question, which you'll see here. And I'll see it on the trusty iPhone 8. Let's read it out. Hi, new subscriber here. I find your videos very helpful, so thank you very much for making them. I really like your Bhagavad Gita videos and hope you'll continue with them. Yes, every Monday, we're going to break down this Bhagavad Gita to the most relevant chapters for your everyday life. I have two general questions that I would be very grateful if you could address them, maybe in a future video. It'll be this video. Question number one. What is your opinion, understanding of the so-called dark night of the soul? What is its purpose? Why do some people go through it and others don't? I was propelled into spirituality through my own dark night 4 years ago. 2 years ago, I fell in love with Advaita Vedanta. I'm also doing meditation for more than 4 years now. Congratulations, very good. But my dark night so far is getting darker. The suffering is getting worse and worse. Many attachments are forcefully stripped away from my life. And every time I give up one attachment, the next external tragedy occurs. This process is very painful and exhausting. I kind of understand the purpose of the process, but at the same time I'm wondering whether I'm doing something wrong or if it's supposed to be this difficult. I'd really love your perspective on this. Thank you in advance. This is the first question they asked. I'll address this now and then answer the second question regarding the ego. A very important question regarding ego. So let's address this dark night of the soul first. First of all, you asked something further down in that question. Are you doing anything wrong? No. You are not doing anything wrong. There's no way you can get into spirituality, genuinely get into it, and you're doing something wrong. You're actually doing something right. And exactly what you said, you experienced a dark night 4 years ago. It sounds like just before you got into meditation or at the same time you were getting into meditation. First thing I'll say, keep up the meditation. Meditation, particularly in Advaita Vedanta, is very beneficial because let's basically sum up what spirituality is all about. We suffer because our mind is distracted like this, constantly thinking of likes, dislikes, past, future, caught up in the changing world. This is what our mind's doing. What is meditation good for? Especially with Advaita Vedanta, giving us a concentrated mind. Our mind naturally is like this, caught up with past, future, likes, dislikes. It's like this. Meditation is the practice of giving us a calm, concentrated mind, the ability to focus. Many people have a mind like this. Then they hear some non-dual knowledge, it's the one appearing separate, there's no one here, nothing to do, and it's not changing their life because they know it superficially, but their mind's still doing this. Don't you want the benefits of this teaching? Don't you want to live this teaching? That's one reason to meditate. It takes the mind from doing this to this. Single pointed, concentrated. That's the whole purpose of meditation. In a safe, comfortable room, developing a concentrated mind. What are practices like karma yoga good for? Which I've talked about briefly in chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, and we will go into more detail in chapter 3. What's karma yoga good for? Concentrated mind again. What's devotion good for to a god? Concentrated mind again. All spirituality is doing is taking our scattered mind, selfish mind. It's all about me and mine, my likes, my dislikes, scattered, selfish, making it selfless and single-pointed. That is what will give you inner peace. And it's very hard to realize your true self without a concentrated mind. Once you have a clear, concentrated, selfless mind, realizing what you are, intuiting your true self will be crystal clear. That's why all this spiritual practice is good for realizing the true self. Your true self is stable, unchanging, the pure witness. That's your transcendent true self. But your immanent egoic self is changing, constantly distracted. What we're trying to do is align the two. True self, egoic self, once you're in alignment, you're in a state of peace, equanimity. These appear separate, don't they? They appear separate because our mind can only think in dualistic thinking. So we have to divide this reality up into apparently two things, just so our mind can comprehend this. True self, egoic self, lined up. They're separate, but they're one. Why are they one? Because they're both hands. If the fabric of reality was hands, it's all hands, it appears separate because that's the limitations of our mind. And again, that's all we're doing with spiritual practice. Spiritual knowledge will reveal the true self, the pure witness, never coming, never going, the witness of a concentrated mind, the witness of a distracted mind, the witness of all our likes and dislikes. Knowledge will give us that realization, but living this teaching day to day, we need spiritual practice. That's the beautiful thing about Advaita Vedanta. They won't deny your human experience. It's a non-dual teaching. You must accept all of reality. You feel like a person living a life. This is no problem. It's actually required. We need to understand non-duality, but still experience duality. And once you do that, it's no problem. So first thing I'll say, keep the meditation up. It's practicing giving you a concentrated mind. It's also so beneficial, as you may know, for self-inquiry. In a safe, comfortable room, you can sit in silence and be aware of the body that's constantly changing. Be aware of the breath. Be aware of your thoughts and feelings, constantly changing. It'll make what you are so crystal clear. So again, keep it up. Now, like you said, this dark night of the soul started 4 years ago. You found Advaita Vedanta 2 years ago, and you're really loving the teaching, but things are getting worse. And you ask, why doesn't everyone experience this? Well, first of all, you never know when someone's going to experience this. I've heard many descriptions of the dark night of the soul, depending on your framework of viewing this reality. In a devotional sense, the dark night of the soul is the feeling God has abandoned me. I had such a love and faith in God, but my life's going wrong. Where is God? I thought God's going to take care of me, so loving. The feeling God's abandoned me. What have I done wrong? You're going through a hell. Seen incorrectly, you're going to think God has abandoned me. I've done something wrong. Seen correctly, this is a purification process. I remember growing up as a Christian, and Jesus would say something like, what was it? You can't serve two masters. I believe that more than ever now. There's two masters you can serve. The world, the devil, or God, your true self. These dark nights of the soul, when everything's stripped from you, when everything goes wrong, it's really putting you to the test. In a safe, comfortable room, when everything's going well, we can say, I love God, I believe in a God, God gives me so many blessings. But when all that's stripped away from you, how much do you truly love God now? How much are you truly caught up in God as opposed to the world? This is a test. You can't serve two masters. Jesus was right. I understand what he's saying now. That's personally how I live my life, by the way. I tell my loved ones, my attention is not in this world. I perform my duties, do what I need to do, take care of who I need to take care of, but I'm not caught up in this world. My mind is anchored in God or the true self. And that's the real test. It's easy to say when everything's going well. Much like when you've eaten a meal and you're very full and you say, I need to go on a diet. I'll start it on Monday. When you're very full and happy, you make all these plans about going on a diet and exercising. But when you're hungry, when you're craving, that's the true test. Are you going to stick to your plan? So this is a test. God is going to strip everything away from you. God is going to apparently abandon you to see how much faith, how much surrender you have to the process. And if you get angry and fail, don't worry. This is why it's called spiritual practice. This life is a practice, a training ground to purify the soul. And growing up, I had two feelings. The first feeling I had was I didn't feel like I fit into this life. Also, I had the feeling when life was going pretty well, I thought it's going well and all, but there's something missing. Even if I gain a lot of money, the perfect relationship, the ideal life by society's standards, I still could imagine myself in that scenario and think, something's missing, something's not right. That's the first mindset that will lead you into spirituality, the blessed path, I call it. If you just have this sense, life is all right, but something's missing, and that leads you into spirituality, you're very blessed. That is what one of the mindsets I had. But here's the thing with that mindset. Personally with me, I had that mindset, but that would quickly be overpowered by thoughts of the world. I would think something's missing. Even if I get everything I want, it won't complete me. Next moment, I'm out chasing the world. After knowing that. But here's what really drove home spirituality for me, suffering. I got into a relationship and there's a saying, if you think you're enlightened, spend a weekend with your family. We think we're in a state of peace. We figured all this out. Interact with your family. Get into a relationship. Get into disagreements about finances, about in-laws, medical emergencies in families. Get into a relationship and stick at it through thick and thin. That's going to purify your soul so much. And that's why I'm grateful to be in a relationship. We have been through so much. And I'm not going to turn this into a therapy session. But that has driven home the point in my mind, this life is suffering. This world isn't here for happiness. It has brought my faith in God or true self, whatever you want to call it. It's so clear to me now. These dark nights of the soul are meant to shake you up at your very core. And it's either going to lead you down darkness and depression if you have no faith or spirituality, or it's going to bring you closer to God or your true self. So you might already know this. You might already sense this. Everything you're going through, it's to purify your soul. And one thing I want to say is, like I said earlier, you're not doing anything wrong. Think of it like this. If you're devotional in nature, think of God and the devil. When you start really putting your attention in God, the devil is really going to test you. The devil is going to be like, you really think you love God? Let's really test you. Let's make your life a misery and a hell. See how much you love God. That's through the devotional lens. Another way through the Hindu lens, they call this reality Maya. This world is here because we didn't realize our true self last life. That's why we're reborn again, to fulfill desires. And Maya needs customers. This world wants our attention. It wants us to be active in this world. You're a valued customer in Maya's world when you get caught up in it. But when you start sensing, this world isn't for me, I want something higher. If the objects of the world are like toys and you're starting to outgrow the toys, thinking, nothing against the world, but I'm kind of outgrowing these toys of the world, Maya is going to really throw all the bad karma at you in this life. Why? Because Maya has sensed he or she is figuring this out. They're not going to come back next life. So let's give them all the bad karma we can before they leave. And that's again why I love the teachings of karma and reincarnation. They are such an empowering teaching. I live by karmic principles. Such an empowering teaching, like I said. And here's a quick thing to note. The law of karma of past and future lives was nothing to do with spirituality. They viewed that, these ancient cultures, they viewed that as a law of the universe. There's gravity, there's the law of karma. It was common sense. Every action has a reaction, and that reaction triggers another action. Reality is one and undivided. All time and space is appearing here and now. Your true self is living through all bodies and minds, throughout all space and all time. To hurt others is hurting yourself. To be kind to others is to be kind to yourself. Now, you don't have to believe in this law of karma, but why do I live my life as if it's true? Like I said before, very empowering teaching. When your life is a mess, when you're going through a hell, here's what you're supposed to tell yourself. I am just paying off karmic debts. We all have to pay off our debts. So you say to yourself, I have brought this on myself, and thank you for experiencing it now. I need to experience sometime, and the moment is always now, isn't it? So I might as well experience this now, flush out all this karmic debts, and then await the good karma. And also generate good karma while the bad karma is happening. How is that? Not returning hate with hate. When your life is a mess, when people are screwing you over, look at them as instruments to give you your bad karmic results that you have to work through. So when people are rude, screw you over, be patient and non-reactive. Of course, if they're harming you, you need to stop them as well. You can do it in a loving way. Report them to the police. Stop them if they're getting violent. Because if you let them proceed more and more, you're harming them as well. The more bad karma they're generating is going to hurt them, which is ultimately you. So what I'm saying with this whole theory of karma is, take your bad karma on the chin, but don't react to it. People are bad. Take it humbly and gracefully, but also still operate from the root of love. Be patient, understanding, accepting. You're paying off bad karmic debts, generating good karma. That's why I love this teaching. Very empowering. It's not going to make you a victim to life. And also, why are we getting into non-duality, Advaita Vedanta? To escape this endless cycle of birth and death. All your karma will be burnt up once you realize your true self. Don't worry about your past lives, how many you had, how much bad karma you have. Advaita Vedanta is all about saying, look, you've got bad karma. That's what's generating all this misery. Don't worry about it. Focus on escaping it, not why it happened and when. Focus on this life. Don't get so caught up in what was my past life or many past lives ago. What will my future life be? Who cares? Focus on this life. Achieve peace and happiness in this life. And the only way to do that is realize your true self, not react to bad karma, and always operate from the root of love. While again stopping bad people. If you haven't, check out my Bhagavad Gita playlist, video 1, about dealing with difficult people and situations. You need to stand up for what is right. You need to stop bad people. But if you're doing it with hate, with revenge, generating bad karma. So just to review your first question, this dark night of the soul, totally natural. It's a test from God under a devotional lens, or it's a test from Maya, that which has created this veil of appearance and illusion. If this is going to be your last life, or you're getting close, it's going to do a last-ditch effort to really test you. And you need this, because here's why I got into spirituality. I wanted inner peace under all conditions. I, like all of us, of course, want to change my outer circumstances. Avoid people that are toxic. Get out of financial trouble. Do all the things that we all naturally want to do. But once you've done that, you need inner peace in the midst of problems while they're happening. That's unshakable inner peace. That's what an enlightened person is like. Whether they're around a lot of people or not, they're in a state of peace. When they're around problems or not, they're in a state of peace. Indestructible peace. So view this as a test. And the very fact you're into non-dual teachings, Advaita Vedanta, they say you're very blessed. For you to have an interest in these teachings, you're very blessed. You've got good karma. You're nearing the end. So keep it up. Dark night of the soul. Everyone, I feel, has experienced it or will eventually. Just because their life is going well now, doesn't mean it's going to continue. And that's why you want to find inner peace when life is going well. It's equipping you for when life goes wrong, because life is going to go wrong. Even if it's going well now, you know it's going to go even worse later. You need the tools to withstand tragedy. That's what true success in life is, by the way. You know what true success is? Being able to manage the ups and downs of life, particularly the downs. When everything's going well, everyone's happy. No brainer. But when life goes crap, can you maintain inner peace, equanimity? It doesn't mean you're not going to grieve, get angry, upset, but deep down know this is exactly what was meant to happen. This nature is in a constant state of flux. Whatever comes goes, even bad times. Also, the realization, I'm ultimately not doing anything. Life is living life. There's so many teachings we need to understand and integrate on this non-dual path. So I'll conclude this question with, first of all, suffering got you into this, like it did for me and many others, because when life is going well, who cares about a God, spirituality? I'm having too much fun. Suffering brings you onto this path. Suffering will continue due to bad karma. Don't worry about it. And if you don't believe in karma, you don't have to believe in karma, but just realize suffering will keep you focused on God or the true self. Focused on the unchanging while the changing keeps screwing you over. There was a woman actually, I can't remember her name, in her prayer to God every day, she said, God, please give me problems. Please give me struggle so I never forget you. She prayed for problems. Who does that? I'm not that crazy. But what I pray for is, give me the strength to get through any problems. But she would pray for problems just to remember God. Because honestly, she's right. When you're devotional, all your attention is withdrawn inwards to your true self or to a God when life is going rough. It's such a beautiful rock of peace when life gets tough. So I understand what you're going through. Many others are or will. And to hear that you're into non-dual teachings, I'm so happy for you. There's no going back now. You've found the ultimate answer to your suffering. So keep at it. I'm so very happy. Now let's move on to your second question regarding the ego. What exactly is the role of the ego? In some of your videos, you say that the ego is just the I thought that claims ownership of the things that appear in awareness like actions, thoughts, etc. I did this. But in other videos, you talk about the ego like it plays more of an active part. The ego thinks, wants this. Can you please clarify this? Thanks. Thanks again for the great videos. I'm having a rather difficult time right now, and these videos are really helpful to me. Again, this rough time you're going through, it's going to get better. Honestly, I can tell you, you're going to look back on this time. I know you don't feel like it now. It's going to be a blessing. These rough times are stripping away all this attachment to the world. I know it's rough now, but it's going to give you so much wisdom and inner peace ultimately. Just stick on course. And don't worry if you fall off, because spiritual practice, we're practicing. It's not spiritual perfection, spiritual practice. And again, that's why I make these videos. To give you guys practical, everyday, down-to-earth advice. As a normal person, I'm living a normal life. You are too. Honestly, I'm so proud of you for meditating for 4 years and going through what you're going through. Very commendable. Stick at it. Beautiful. But with this ego question, let's talk about the ego. It's a really good question because so many people think the ego has to be killed, eradicated. The ego is so important. Why do you think and feel you're a separate person in a separate world? Ego. Beautiful. It has taken this one undivided source and made it appear separate. Much like in a dream. In deep sleep, your mind is one and undivided, but there's no experience. When you start dreaming, the one undivided mind appears separate. In the waking state, there's a waking ego, which experiences a waking world. In the dream state, a dream ego that experiences a dream world. In deep sleep, there's a deep sleep ego that experiences a deep sleep world. Your true self is beyond all this. Your true self is real, lighting up the waking state, making it appear real. Then it lights up the dream state, making it appear real. Then lights up the blankness of deep sleep, and you feel non-existent. You feel that's your reality. Waking existence, dream existence, non-existence. The ego is so important, and it can't be killed. It's impossible. The ego is just a thought. You're conscious of the ego, it's not conscious of you. It's just a thought in the intellect that labels everything. I did this, I did that. You did this, you did that. It's the thought and feeling of ownership and control. And let's really break down this ego to really understand what's happening and what we can do with this. As it started raining, to understand the ego, let's understand the three bodies they talk about in Advaita Vedanta. Physical body, subtle body, and causal body. Physical body is this body everyone can see. I can see it, you can see it. It's the thing that the doctors can cut open and study or do operations on. Physical body. Physical body is made from the 5 elements, they say. Space, air, fire, earth, and water. What sustains it? Food and water. Physical body. Its job is to do the bidding of the subtle body. This physical body is a poor worker for the subtle body. It goes here and there. It speaks. It performs actions on behalf of the subtle body and speaks on behalf of the subtle body. It's an instrument of speech and action for the subtle body. Let's go deeper. The subtle body, which I just mentioned, it's the most interesting body to talk about, which we'll spend a bit of time on. But where are these two bodies coming from? The causal body. The causal body is what we experience in deep sleep as a blank. Think of it like a seed. When we're awake, we experience the waking body, subtle body, causal body. When we fall asleep and start dreaming, we're experiencing the subtle body, which is what is responsible for a dream, and the causal body powering up the subtle body. When the subtle body drops away, we experience the blankness of deep sleep. In other words, physical body resolves into the subtle body resolves into the causal. When we wake up, the subtle body sprouts from the causal, physical body sprouts from the subtle. It'll be like if you had an apple seed in your hand, you see this big apple tree, then you find an apple seed. That little seed had the ability to sprout this massive apple tree with all these apples. When you cut open that seed, you don't see an apple tree in there. You just see nothing. From that nothingness, that tree appears. That big tree can sprout from a seed under the right conditions. It has potential to become a tree. That's what the causal body's like, pure potential. It has all the seeds of your subtle and waking body. Under the right conditions, it sprouts. The only difference between the tree example and the causal body, the tree can sprout from the seed, but it can't go back into the seed. It can't reverse. But they're saying our physical and subtle can reverse back into the causal when we fall into deep sleep and at the time of death, and sprouts back again when the body wakes up, or when we experience a rebirth at the time of death. But I won't get into too much detail with that. But basically, they're the three bodies. This subtle body, what's its purpose? First of all, it uses the 5 instruments of knowledge to interact with this world. This body is inert, but this body has the ability to see, hear, taste, feel, and smell. But it needs a mind behind it. If you saw a dead body on the ground with its eyes open, That would be very troubling, first and foremost. But that body has eyes, ears, nose, a tongue, but it can't experience because there's no subtle body left in it. The subtle body uses these 5 instruments of knowledge to interact with the world. Information's coming through what we see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. What does the mind do? The subtle body takes in the information. They call the subtle body, or the mind, the emotional body. We take in experiences and then we feel something about it. We may feel anger, happiness, sadness. We take in the information, feel something. What happens to that information? That information, number 1, is stored in memory. It goes to the memory, what we're experiencing. The second place it goes to is intellect. The intellect takes all this information, what it's currently experiencing, also pulls out past experiences from the memory, analyzes, discriminates, then spits out an action plan for the subtle body. Then the subtle body uses the physical body to take action. This might sound very confusing, but let's use an example. You're standing in front of someone and they start yelling at you. You're experiencing through seeing and hearing them yelling. That triggers the feelings of anger instantly. That feeling of anger, first and foremost, all this experience goes into memory, and the mind directs all this experience to the intellect. What does the intellect do? Analyze the situation. Who is this person? Where is it happening? Why are they saying this? Draws on past experiences. Then, once the intellect analyzes all this information, sends it back to the mind to direct the physical body to take action. And the quality of the intellect determines your action. If your intellect doesn't have much knowledge with dealing with conflict, if your intellect has only the knowledge of when someone yells at me, yell back, that's what you're going to do. They yell at me, goes to the intellect says, yell back, how dare they? That information goes to the mind, the body starts yelling, maybe starts getting aggressive. Once your intellect is more refined through self-work or spirituality, you have more options. Someone's yelling, that information goes to the memory and the intellect. The intellect discriminates, looks at past experiences and says, in the past, whenever I yelled, it got worse. If I hit them in this moment, I could go to jail. This all happens very fast, of course. But if you can get a feel from what's happening, information's coming through the senses, the mind generates feelings, sends it off to intellect discriminates, gives the mind an action plan. That's why we need to develop our intellect, our spiritual intellect, to deal with these scenarios, because that's the process of events. And this poor physical body isn't conscious. It just does the bidding of intellect and mind. So that's a brief explanation of the mind and intellect. Where does the ego fit into all this? The ego is this other part of the mind that gives you the feeling and thoughts of ownership and control. When you're being yelled at, you got the sense, I'm being yelled at. You're taking it personal. It's a feeling of it's happening to me. Once the intellect discriminates and spits out an action plan for this body to take action, just say the action it told you to do was punch the person. Then what does the ego think and feel? I punched them. I did it. See, it's that feeling of this is happening to me. I performed an action. I feel so proud for punching them, or I feel so guilty. It has the feeling of ownership and control. That's all the ego's doing. Ownership and control. And all your thoughts in the intellect basically have this I thought attached to them due to ego. I'm this person. I'm living this life. I'm so smart. I'm so dumb. I'm so good looking. I'm so ugly. The intellect is filled with these I am thoughts due to ego. And that's why non-duality is the path of knowledge. You can only experience a reality based on your intellect. Whatever's in the intellect is what you experience. You think and feel you're in a separate world. And you think and feel you're this person. Why? Because that is what was programmed into you. You were a baby, you were a clean slate, and this reality conditioned into you. You're a separate person in a separate world. You're here, the world's there. Programming. The ego was taught to you. Why? Because the people that taught you that thought they were the ego. And it goes back and back and back. When did all this start? Perhaps the Garden of Eden, original sin. I don't know. So this ego gives you the feeling of ownership and control. And here's the thing we must understand. We can't kill this feeling. We can't kill this thought. This thought and feeling isn't conscious. We're conscious of this thought and feeling. It just needs to be transcended. There was a Swami that summed this up beautifully. He said, I think it's Swami Paramarthananda, I think. He basically said, we go from identified with the ego, I am this person, to an association with it. We transcend it. You're aware of a body. You're aware of your thoughts and feelings. You're aware of your life story, your ego. You know it. It doesn't know you. So you don't need to kill it. You can't. It's required to experience. The ego gives you the feeling and thoughts of separation. It's great. The only problem we have is thinking we are the ego. So why is the ego there in the first place? For this reality to manifest as it does. We're born by default thinking we are the ego because of all our conditioning. This is what enables us to experience duality as we do. Because we feel like a separate person and so do others, we can hate others. We can feel jealousy, anger, fear, proud. It gives all these movie characters of life a range of emotions. That's why, have you ever done those plays in school and you're not very good? You know, in primary school or high school, where you're trying to act the character, you're forgetting your lines, you're not very convincing, but your parents are very proud because it's their kid on stage, even though you're not very good at acting. What is a really good actor in this day and age? A method actor, like Al Pacino. And a method actor takes the role home with them. They absorb the script, absorb the role, take the role home with them, even when they're at home. They don't break character. Why do they do that? To become the role. We're born like method actors. And the ego enables us to do that. The ego gives us the instant feeling like a method actor. We really think I'm this person living a life. And it causes a lot of suffering. Ultimately, we're not in suffering because what we are is beyond all suffering. But the thoughts and feelings we're in suffering is due to ego. It makes us a method actor and so do others. So once you absorb your mind in non-dual knowledge, the ego still continues. But you don't take it seriously anymore. You go from a method actor to a B-grade actor. I personally do not take this role of Simon serious. I have a lightheartedness, cheerfulness about myself these days. I was very sensitive many years ago because I took myself and ego to be very serious. Now I just view myself as acting, playing a role. So when things go well, I'm very lighthearted and happy, playful. When things go wrong, all my attention goes inwards, anchors in the true self, and knows just to surrender to the moment, and it's all going to be okay. It gives you rock solid inner peace once you realize your true self. And this role still continues. The ego is no problem. Just identifying with the ego is the problem. So that's what the ego's for. Not a problem. And you asked, how come I talk about the ego like this and then like that? It depends on the context. Depending on the context, I'll use the word ego like this or that. Like the ego wants this, the ego thinks that. It's just a way of speaking. But once you're clear on what you are, once you're clear that the ego is just a function of this body-mind complex, however I speak about it, or any teacher, I'm not a teacher, however any teacher speaks about the ego won't disturb you anymore. If they have the understanding that they're trying to show you in Advaita Vedanta. If your teacher is telling you to kill the ego, destroy ego, that's a different teaching. Advaita Vedanta says, you have a brain, heart, lungs, ego. Cool, no problem. It can't be destroyed and doesn't have to be. The ego has created an illusion of separation. When you realize it's an illusion, the illusion still continues, no problem. It'll be like this. You're walking in a desert and you have knowledge of mirages. You understand what a mirage is, but your friend doesn't. You're walking, a mirage appears. It looks like there's water in the distance. Your friend eagerly runs to the mirage because he's very thirsty. You stand still, waiting for him to come back. Because when he runs to the mirage, very eager and excited to drink water, he realizes it's not there. Why didn't you run? You saw the same mirage, but you know it's just an appearance. Why get so caught up in it? There's no point running after it. It's not there. In a similar way, that's what the enlightened have realized. Before self-realization, the world appeared separate. And they really took it to be real and really thought there's happiness in this world. After self-realization, the world still appears separate, but you don't get so caught up in it. It's not your source of happiness anymore. This world, for the enlightened being, is just a source of practicality. You use it for food, shelter, water. If you want a family, reproduction. If you want knowledge, for knowledge. If you want entertainment, entertainment. It's not a source of happiness. It's not a source of inner peace. It's a source of knowledge, entertainment, transacting with the world. Inner peace is an inside job. The mirage still continues. It's no problem. Your perspective just shifts. Or I should say, it does shift in the sense of it might appear a little bit lighter. Not literally lighter, but before this knowledge, life was a bit more gloomier. When you thought, I'm separate, in a separate world, I have free will, so do others. There's a bit more of a grayer tinge to it, in quotes. You see the same world after self-realization, but it's more of a lighter tinge. You realize, oh, what a beautiful appearance. I don't need this for happiness. And others that are in suffering, let's help them. Now that I've stopped thinking of my problems, my suffering, I've got all this time and energy to help others who think they're in suffering. So just to round up this question, this video is getting very long. Ego is no problem. It is a function of this body-mind complex. It is required for us to experience. The majority of people are like method actors. They have an ego and really think they are the ego. That's what's causing all the suffering and misery. Thinking and feeling they're separate causes all the suffering. The enlightened person goes from an unripe ego to a ripe ego, as Sri Ramakrishna says. Your ego just becomes ripe. It becomes a devotee of a God and just surrenders all its will to God, which will bring inner peace, or it realizes the true self and develops two eyes. Initially, you had only this eye. I'm this person, that's it. You realize your true I is that. Thou art that. Tat twamasi. Your true self is that. Your transcendent self is that. Your immanent self still continues. You've developed two eyes. And once this immanent self realizes the true self, this egoic self is going to have such a cruisy life moving forward, even through the midst of problems. It will be able to weather the storm of these problems and also respond to these problems in a loving, compassionate way. That's all I've got to say before this video turns into an hour long. I think I'll wrap it up there. Hope this answered your two beautiful questions, and I'll see you lovely people in the next one. But until then, take care of yourselves, okay? See ya.